got some tea for you. I made the same kind of video last year and said that I thought it could help me reflect on the year that had just passed and celebrate my creations rather than always continuing to think ahead. And when I sat down to reflect on what I had made this year, I instantly thought I hadn't made as much as last year, mainly due to a period of severe burnout that I experienced for a few months. But as it turns out, I actually made more than I thought I did and still feel like I had a highly creative year. So I would encourage you to also reflect and celebrate your small and big wins of this year before moving on to plans and goals for 2025. So, I imagine my year being split up into 3 acts, and the first one is all about my band Keeper. We recorded our debut album at the end of last year, and this year we released it. We're an independent band and love to create audio-visual experiences with our performances and releases. So the album came with a lot more than just music. I mentioned in last year's video that I wrote a short story to go alongside the album, and this year I designed, formatted, and self-published the hardcover book. The album Waking Dream is a concept album that involves a journey through the eyes of a character that is exploring an unknown magical world in her sleep. So related to the album, I designed album artwork, single artworks, and the book cover. I also created map artworks, promo material, trailers introducing the album journey, projections for live shows, and my bandmate Julia and I did lino cut artworks that we used in the book and also for some other merch. And I edited and added animation to a music video for one of the album songs that my partner Ramsey and I filmed last year in our place. Ramsey also took band press photos for us, for which I was kind of like the creative director. And then after the release of our album, my band put on a day festival as our album launch with over 20 bands playing. The venue had 2 stages and we decorated the whole place with artworks, snippets of the story, cardboard set pieces, and had a dedicated room as an exhibition of artwork as well. I really wanted to make my outfit for the festival as well and started knitting this mountain landscape top, but it wasn't turning out quite right, so I ended up sewing this velvet dress and I wore this on the day. It's a maxi. So after that we went on an East Coast Australia tour, for which I made some posters and a tour diary after we came back. And the final band related one, I decorated a couple of electric guitars as perks for 2 very generous contributors to our crowdfunding campaign, which was for the recording and creation of the album. So yeah, it was a huge, almost first half of the year that was dedicated completely to my band Keeper and our album. It was probably the most multidisciplinary project of my life so far, and I really enjoyed creating all of it with my bandmates. As much as I enjoyed it though, I was honestly also struggling because at the very beginning of the year I was already really burnt out. I was just going above and beyond with everything for the album while also keeping my art business going. So when things got even busier from January onwards, I was just pushing through the burnout every day without giving myself a chance to recover at all. I just got deeper and deeper into the burnout, just highly anxious and in constant fight or flight mode. And by the time June came around with the end of the tour, I just really crashed. The next couple of months, I was pretty much unable to do anything. It took me some time to understand what really made me feel truly rested and brought energy in after all of the creative output I was having for months and months. Or more like years really, because this kind of hustling definitely goes beyond just the creation of the album. I found that while lying on the couch watching TV seemed like rest, it wasn't actually as restful to me as going for a walk. I would recommend checking out resources from Gary Yardi if you can relate to all this. Her creative burnout course really helped me. And the Unpublished podcast with Amy McNee and James Weinstock is also just a go-to for me and also helped me during that time. Before moving on, there are a few Fibre Arts related creations from the first half of the year that I'd like to show. I made a crochet pot plant in January as a birthday present for my friend, and this is a crochet keeper sign that I made while we were on tour to have on stage while we perform. Cheese, my cat, loves sleeping on it, so I made this fluffy cushion cover and blanket. It's very fluffy, and he actually uses it. I crocheted this vest while I was on a short solo trip in the mountains. This is definitely one of my favorites. I've also been wearing it a lot. And I made another velvety dress to wear to my cousin's wedding. It's a one-shoulder design and maxi again. So Act 2 of my year was a time of recovery, and I really slowed down and had very little creative output, but charged up my batteries for Act 3. I'm so grateful that I was able to do that, and I'm honestly pretty proud of myself for rewriting my productivity narratives and finally allowing myself to rest. Okay, Act 3. My creative energy's back and I'm feeling quite in touch with my intuition. And coming out of the burnout, I worked on this crochet blanket. Well, it was originally supposed to be a large blanket, but I ended up stopping at this size because I really liked it as a little cover for the ottoman. Has a bit of cat hair on it because Cheese loves sleeping on this one too. I also made a couple of simple necklaces using sea glass, and I reworked an older crochet piece that I'd made, just adjusted the colorway a little bit and fixed up some mistakes. I got really into making crochet appliques and thrift flipped this top and this cardigan. I have a video on the process of those, probably one of my favorite videos that I made this year. And around this time I got interested in making bags. This one doesn't have a strap, but I started with these and then somehow got really obsessed with buttons. I made quite a few denim bags made out of secondhand jeans and embellished them with buttons, one of them with crochet houses. I also spent a few days redesigning my entire website when I switched platforms and made promo material to put these bags up for sale. This one is still available, by the way. This was my first one of this kind. Will have a special place in my heart. Next, I crocheted this funky little lampshade. It's just a bit of fun and also has some of my favorite buttons on there. And I also made this little necklace out of buttons, button obsessed. Then I felt like drawing and painting again after quite a long time of exploring other art forms. I did this pretty quick painting as part of a video I made about the power of art and these digital artworks on Procreate. This one's inspired by a really beautiful animated show called Hilda, and I did a physical drawing on black paper with metallic pens and my first proper gouache painting. Painted this one, I think, the day before my birthday. It was kind of my ideal scene with my cat. This was my next crochet piece. Some of the yarn used I unraveled from an old crochet top that I was happy to say goodbye to. Then this crochet scrap yarn dress. Pretty big project, took me a while to do. I actually think I made this one before the previous blue one, but they were around the same time. So over the second half of the year, I was reading a lot more and getting a lot of ideas for a fantasy world that I wanted to create, which could be a source of inspiration for many creative projects, including artworks, stories, films, music. So I've kind of had that going on in the background. Now and again I'll do a bit of world building and planning for a novel, but obviously that's a very long-term project that I knew I wasn't going to be finishing this year, let alone in the next couple of years probably. But I thought I'd mention it anyway because from that I ended up writing a separate short story on the side. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with that yet. Potentially make a script out of it for a short film, but regardless, I really enjoyed the process of writing it. It's called The One Knowledge. I actually also wrote and recorded a song in my bedroom, inspired by a similar concept to the short story. So who knows, maybe it'll be a music video, short film hybrid. This is actually something I'm still working on, but I'm pretty far in, and I love the yarn. And when I made my trip to visit my parents in Portugal last month, I made quite a few crochet pieces there as well, including one of my all-time favorite makes, the Black Forest top. As a new product to my online shop, I put together this 2025 calendar. It's such a cute size, and it includes some of my popular cosmic artworks from over the years. This is available to order now if you're interested. The link is in the description. Also, I did a bit more gig photography. And finally, we end the year with another band-related project. Ramsey filmed our time in the recording studio at the end of last year, so I edited together a bunch of the footage into a music video for one of the songs from the album. This one isn't released yet, but keep an eye out for it. I guess as a fun little bonus for Christmas, I decorated this gingerbread house that was made by Ramsey and his mum. The icing on the roof was a lot of fun. Honestly, looking back, I'm pretty surprised by how much I did end up creating this year, despite the slow months in the middle there. I'm so passionate about so many different art forms and just love doing them all. And I'm really glad to have documented a bunch of my projects from this year in videos. I made 21 YouTube videos this year and 13 shorts. I can't believe it's been almost to the day 2 years since I started posting videos about crochet, DIY, fashion, creativity. I've really been loving it. But I can't help but be getting ideas for some new things too. I want to try exploring more of the cinematic vlog route, where I document my crochet projects and fashion and things like that, but within a larger framework of striving to make my life a work of art. That's actually something I said in my video last year, that I want to create in many different ways and in a bigger sense make my whole life a work of art, and that's something I want to focus on. Romanticizing the everyday, but also trying new things and expanding my comfort zone, being really open and imaginative and treating all of this as a journey. So I think it could be cool to lean into a more narrative and cinematic approach with my videos, and that would hopefully also help me improve as a filmmaker. I would love for you to stick around for that potential series and see what you think. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season and celebrate your 2024. You definitely deserve to. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for a wonderful year, and I'll see you soon. I'll take that back now. Thank you.